Okay, hello once again. I'm going to give you the Renaissance philosophical movement in education. The Renaissance began in Italy during 1300s and came to an end about 1600s. Renaissance comes from the Latin word renascere, the act of being reborn. So this was the period of the rebirth of learning. Renaissance was the revival of rebirth of learning, a belief of dignity of human beings, a renewed spirit of nationalism, an increase of trade among countries, and a period of exploration. But during this period, outstanding contribution was made. The invention of printing press by Johannes Gutenberg. And we all know that printing press enabled the fast flow of information, books were printed and thus available to some people and led to the spread of new ideas. Moving on to the movements during the Renaissance period. And one of these is humanism. Humanism comes from the Latin word humus, meaning earth and ground. And we all know that being human, acknowledging that we're made from the earth and will be returned to the earth. Humanism, it is a way of thought and life concerned with the realization of the fullest human career. Discuss a general rise in the standard of education among the clergy, increase the amount of liberal education offered in the church school. The aims of education during this period, more social than individual social reform, improvement of human relationship, eliminating ignorance of the common people and the great hypocrisy of social leaders. Humanism in education, it allows for the individual development of talents and total fulfillment, encourage total involvement and participation. Humanist teachers encourage students towards self-actualization and self-fulfillment, placing a value on humility and the individual. Humanist teachers adapt readily to innovative teaching methods. Teachers are creative and independent and encourage the students. Teachers work effectively with others and increase experiences and person-to-person interaction. In other words, during the Renaissance period, humanism played a major role in education just like today. Humanism believed that human being could be automatically changed by education. But the main goal of humanism was to improve the lives of citizens and help the community to create a universal man whose person combined intellectual and physical excellence. In other words, it is all focuses on self-improvement. The second one, we have the Reformation. It was the highlight movement among the movements during the Renaissance. The great religious movement for the reformation of doctrines and institution of the Christian Church. Its followers came to be called Protestant, encouraged by Martin Luther's example. Protestants' reformation in many countries suggested changes and found government willing to support them. Together, they formed a movement called Protestant Reformation. So during this period, school was limited only to the sons of the wealthy and intellectual elite. But Luther argued compulsory education should be for all. His main reason, education was necessary so that Christians could read and understand scripture for themselves. And the aims of education during this movement, the aims of the Protestant reformers was religious moralism living. A worthy life will guarantee a glorious life after. Protestant ethics, industry, thrifty, careful management of material things. Literacy promotion, meaning education must provide adequate training in duties of the home, occupation, church, and state. The method of during this period or movement, reading was taught by routine, pronunciation of words, memorization of answers to questions from the Gospels, Psalms, and hymns. Okay, the third one, we have here the Catholic Counter-Reformation. So this movement corrected the abuses of the church, realizing that the Protestants use education to further their ends. The Catholic use also education to win back dissenters, using truth teaching orders and teaching congregation were founded. Parish schools were reorganized. Seminaries were open to train leaders. So the aims of this reformation is to develop an understanding obedience to the authority of the church. So education methods were to train leaders, teaching the poor, designated for spiritual salvation. Okay, moving on. For educational realism, realism refers to the philosophy of which holds that education should be concerned with the actualization of life. The aims of this is to complete knowledge and understanding as to fit the individual to the environment in which he lives. Okay, next we have disciplinism. It was characterized by two reactions: the rise of formal discipline, the development of aristocracy of reason or rationalism. The aim of this movement is the formation of the habits through discipline. Using this method, the mind could be developed by memorizing and abstract reasoning. And lastly, rationalism. Rationalists upheld the right of each individual to his own opinion, liberty of conscience, and freedom of thought. They believed that man could bring his own reason, improve himself and his institution. So the aims of this was to develop individual who could control all aspects of his life by reason, suppress passion and display of feelings, to live in a highly artificial society. The method during this period used inductive and empirical method that would bring knowledge and strength. Okay. But what was the main philosophy of Renaissance? In philosophical terms, the Renaissance represents a movement away from Christianity and medieval scholasticism and towards humanism, with an increasing focus on the temporal and personal over merely seeing this world as a gateway to the Christian afterlife. My references. Thank you for listening, and God bless.